Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack fascinating topics to get you well-informed, fast. So today, we're taking you on a journey to the Tretyakov Gallery's Adept of the Red, Malevin and Arkhipov exhibition. Now, what's really striking, if you spend any time there, is this pattern you notice.
Yeah.
Visitors asking, where's Malevin? Even the security guard might say, are you here from Malevin? It almost feels like Arkhipov, the other half, kind of gets overlooked.
Yeah, you hear that a lot, and it's really a shame, actually. Because Arkhipov's depth, his influence, it's genuinely significant. I mean, Sure, people might know guests on the Oka River or maybe on the Volga.
Yeah, the famous ones.
Exactly. But what gets missed is that he was way more than just a painter. He was this incredibly influential teacher.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he guided a whole generation of Russian masters.
Yeah.
Kuzma Petrov-Vodkin, Pavel Kuznetsov, Utkin, Gerasimov, Arkady Plastov. Big names.
Wow, okay. So that's a huge legacy right there.
It's a truly powerful, enduring legacy.
Absolutely. That's such a crucial point. And yet, like you said, so many people still overlook him. So for our listeners maybe less familiar, what exactly are we trying to unpack about Arkhipov today? Why dive deep into him?
Well, what we really want to do here is, shed some light on Arkhipov's unique way of seeing things, his vision, and reveal this often hidden, really personal connection he had with his subjects. And we'll also look at the surprising synchronicity, but also the contrasts with Malevin, his contemporary.
Right, the other half of the exhibition.
Exactly. The goal, really, is to show you why his work deserves, a much bigger place in how we understand Russian art.
Okay, that sounds great. So to really get Arkhipov's path, we should probably start with his early wins, right? Like On the Volga, 1889.
Yeah, absolutely. That painting on the Volga, it wasn't just, his first showing. It was a revelation at that Peredvishniki exhibition, The Wanderers.
Right, the realists.
And it got this amazing honor. Empress Maria Feodorovna herself wanted to buy it. That was all over the newspapers.
Wow. So right off the bat, pretty high profile.
Instantly. And it showed his knack for putting, deep personal feeling into simple scenes. He was known for being super modest, reserved even.
Yeah, I read he never did self-portraits.
Never. And he'd often hide his own work thinking it wasn't finished, needed more refining. So for him to paint the scene, this young guy guarding a barge, playing an accordion, it was more than just, sketching what he saw.
So this connects to what you mentioned earlier, the spiritual self-portraits. He's not painting himself, but he sees himself in the subject.
Precisely. He really identified with that figure on the Volga. He saw his own love for just watching nature, those summer sunsets, reflected right there.
That's fascinating, that hidden connection.
It's absolutely core to his work, that deep, often quite personal link between the artist and subject.
Okay, so building on the Volga, he then does on the Oka River. And that gets snapped up by Tretyakov pretty early on.
Right, one of Tretyakov's first Arkhipov pieces. And here's where it gets kind of juicy. Empress Maria Feodorovna wanted this one too. She'd already bought on the Volga the year before.
Okay. Awkward situation for the artist.
It's a fascinating dilemma, isn't it? Now, Arkhipov, much later, in the Soviet times, he said he preferred Tretyakov as the buyer, but the historical account suggests the Empress was, very diplomatic, respected etiquette, she sort of delicately backed off, left the painting with Arkhipov initially.
Okay.
But eventually, maybe inevitably, it did end up in the Tretyakov collection. What's clear is Arkhipov was always searching, trying new styles. He was really influenced by his teacher, Polenov.
Polenov.
Yeah, who believed art didn't need these big, complicated stories. Simple things painted with depth could say a lot.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But Arkhipov didn't just stick to pretty landscapes. He started looking at harder realities, didn't he? The world of labor.
He absolutely did. He turned his focus to something much grittier. Let's talk about the podyanshitsy, the hired peasant women.
Right.
He went to this iron foundry, Badashov's Gosselezny, in Ryazan province. And at first, he was interested in the light, the smoke, the steam, the painterly effects.
Okay.
But his real fascination, it quickly shifted to the women themselves.
Why them specifically?
Well, it wasn't just observation. He actually told a biographer it connected to his childhood, remembering his mother's friends visiting their hut, all shrouded in smoke from the lucina, that little oil lamp they used.
Right.
So this theme, women sitting, talking, or just interacting quietly, it became this quintessential Arkhipov thing. You see it first in journal illustrations, then in the big paintings.
And you really see it in Podyanshitsy, which connects to the red theme of the exhibition, right?
The clothes.
Exactly. The literal red clothes of the women in Archipov's painting from 1895. And then, boom, you see Malivin's red costume of Praskovia Malivina from the exact same year.
Wow. Same year.
It's pretty amazing how they were both sort of tuning into that red tone simultaneously, which was, a typical color for Ryazan province. Interesting synchronicity.
And Archipov's take, it wasn't just grim. He was kind of breaking new ground, focusing on the quiet, unheroic dignity of daily peasant work.
So the painting shows them on a break.
Yeah, women on a break, one's feeding a child, smoke and soot everywhere from the factory, while others, like Kasatkin, were painting miners. Arkhipov chose this more nuanced reality of working women.
A different angle on labor.
A really compassionate one. And there's maybe a sense of longing there, too. His own mother was in her 70s then. Maybe he saw something of her or her life in these women, a personal echo.
And this focus on working women carries on with the washerwomen paintings.
It does. And here there's another influence, the Swedish painter Anders Zorn.
Zorn, how so?
Arkhipov really admired Zorn's broad brushwork, that smoky palette, his quick plein air technique, painting outdoors.
Right, capturing the moment.
Yeah. And Sergei Diaghilev, the big impresario.
Diaghilev of the ballet Russes.
That's the one. He actually praised Archipov's brushwork as being Zorn-like back then. High praise. So around 1897, Arkhipov finds this laundry at the Smolensk market in Moscow, and it hits him hard. He called it a dark kingdom.
Dark kingdom. Sounds intense.
It was a basement full of these exhausted, sad women. Some even had bruises, from beatings.
Harold.
And his compassion just took over. He decided he had to paint this reality unvarnished, totally different from the usual kind of prettified genre scenes you saw then.
That takes courage, artistically.
Mm-hmm.
As you look at these, does that compassion, that way he depicts hardship, does it strike a chord with you?
Oh, absolutely. You feel it. It's almost visceral how he captures their quiet strength, their dignity amidst really tough conditions. It really makes you think about art's power to witness, to really see people who might otherwise be invisible.
Yeah.
And he was so meticulous about it. He'd bring the washerwomen to his studio, but also kept going back to the laundry.
You get it right.
Yeah, to make sure he got the light, the tonal shifts, absolutely accurate. He even had these little signature secrets. Like in the first washerwomen, look closely in the background, there were two heads, almost identical, painted from the same model.
Huh. Little artist trick.
Yes, a subtle nod to his process.
And this intense focus, it led to a really profound experience for him later, didn't it? Something about an old woman.
Yes, exactly. Years later, near the end of his life, he talked about this old woman he met at the laundry. She physically couldn't straighten her back anymore from the constant hard labor.
Oh my goodness.
And that image just stuck with him. He called it a formula or a hieroglyph for his art. It became symbolic.
Wow.
And then his travels in Europe, seeing Michelangelo's figures, that also fed into it. It influenced his second version of Washerwomen, which is much more painterly. You really feel the steam, the fatigue.
You can see that development. And there are related pieces too, right? Like the girl from Astrakhan.
Yeah, the girl, very silvery tones, definite Zorn influence there, those lilac and blue colors he loved. And after his trip abroad in '96, he did The Old Man.
Yes.
A really powerful portrait. Interestingly, critics back then often preferred it to Malivin's Old Woman. They saw something noble, elevated in Archipov's piece, maybe echoes of Michelangelo or Tintoretto, even though the subject's just wearing a simple peasant coat.
Interesting comparison. So after the washerwomen period, around 1901, he starts looking for something new again.
Always searching, yeah. He felt he needed fresh inspiration, maybe move beyond the peasant themes for a bit. So in 1902, he starts traveling to the Russian north.
The north. What drew him there?
The light. He realized that the northern light, which people often thought of as just dull and gray,
Yeah, you'd think.
he saw it was actually incredibly rich, diverse, full of subtle shifts, a real challenge and opportunity for a painter.
And that led to the Northern Village series.
Exactly. Though originally they were just shown as etude, like studies. Big collectors bought them. Ivan Morozov, Vasily Gershman.
Wow, Morozov. He was a major collector.
Huge. And what's really cool is during the prep for this current exhibition, they figured out that a lot of these northern scenes, including his famous In the North, they actually depict one specific place.
Really? Which one?
The village of Nizmizera. You can even recognize the 17th century St. Nicholas Church in some of them.
That's amazing. So a whole bunch of works tied to one spot.
A specific, evocative location fueling that series.
Okay, so after the subtle light of the north, where does his journey take him next?
Well, it takes quite a turn. Unexpectedly, in the spring of 1913, he ends up in Gorbatov.
Gorbatov, what was that like?
It was a weaving town known for these really lively spring fairs. Lots of young unmarried women gathered there. The whole atmosphere was just bursting with energy.
It's a totally different vibe from the north.
Completely. And perfect for a new direction. Full of color, full of life.
And this leads to Spring Day, or Spring Festival.
That's the one. And it's really not like an ethnographic study of a fair. It's more like a song of spring.
A song of spring. I like that.
The sunlight just transforms everything. The colors almost become unreal. You see that light red-orange Ryazan costume again, the one associated with brides.
Ah, the festive colors.
And Arkhipov clearly treasured this painting. He gave it to Alexander Grigoriev, who was a very close student of his.
A significant gift.
Very. Then a year later, he exhibits Guests, or sometimes called Visiting.
Okay, what's special about that one?
It's unusual, very little plot, really. It feels like a whirlwind or maybe a round dance, just pure energy.
Interesting.
And Konstantin Korovin, his friend, the famous impressionist,
Coordinate.
he gave it maybe the highest praise imaginable, called it the best painting in all of Russian and European art.
Whoa. That's quite a statement. Why? What did Korovin see in it?
He said its power wasn't in the story, but in the painting as a unified whole. Arkhipov wasn't just doing landscape or just genre. He was blending them, synthesizing genres, creating something totally dynamic and new.
A master synthesist. Okay, so thinking about these works, let's circle back to that comparison with Malovin, especially with the exhibition pairing them.
Right. It's interesting because even though Arkhipov was 7 years older, they weren't actually close friends. There's not much record of their relationship.
And they were based in different cities mostly.
Yeah, Arkhipov mainly in Moscow, Malovin more in Petersburg. But they did share some key teachers, Polenov, Rubel, though at different times.
Oh, okay. Shared roots.
And both were deeply shaped by that classical art training. So the exhibition, by putting Malovin's, super dynamic figures next to Arkhipov's quieter, often posed figures, it creates this fascinating dynamic, like a psychological experiment, inviting you into this sort of round dance of female images across their careers.
A dialogue between them almost.
Exactly. And what really shines through for Arkhipov in this context is that personal connection to his subjects.
How so?
Well, for one, he had this collection of peasant costumes. He actually bought them from the women he painted.
Oh, wow. Not just props, but their actual clothes.
This is a real connection, doesn't it? And in the exhibition, you can see 2 portraits he did of women, painted 8 years apart, but using similar materials. It really shows off his skill with complex color combos, red with lilac, red with pink. It highlights that red theme again, beyond just the Malovin link.
His mastery of color.
Absolutely. And this deep connection, it's been brought to life even more by some amazing research.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
There was this local historian from Ryazan, Dmitry Akimovich Konovalov. He worked with Olimpiada Alexeyevna Zhivova. She was a specialist at the Tretyakov and wrote Arkhipov's monograph.
Okay.
Zhivova suggested Konovalov go to Solacha, Arkhipov's favorite village near Ryazan, with just black and white photos of his paintings.
Okay.
And he actually found relatives, even children of the women Arkhipov painted.
No way.
Yes. So he managed to recover the actual stories, the identities, behind several of these famous peasant portraits.
That is incredible detective work, bringing the paintings back to life like that.
Truly remarkable. And probably the most fascinating story to come out of this involves the peasant woman in green apron from the Tretyakov.
Okay, what's her story?
Her name was Moskowy Egorova. She was 40 years old and actually pregnant with her 4th child when she sat for Arkhipov.
Wow.
And get this, she sat for him for 2 weeks. 2 whole days just for the initial charcoal drawing on the canvas.
That's dedication for both of them.
Absolutely. And the blouse and skirt she's wearing, she embroidered them herself. Experts have confirmed the patterns are authentic Ryazan designs.
Amazing detail.
Then Arkhipov added the black sleeveless jacket and these inexpensive glass beads, but beads that were brilliant at reflecting light.
Ah, for the painterly effects.
Exactly, creating new ways to see the light hitting the figure.
So it's this blend of authenticity and artistic vision.
Perfectly put. It allowed him to create this incredible you could call it a rainbow gallery of life-affirming images. And that green apron, it became almost a signature element for him. You see it pop up again and again. It speaks volumes about finding beauty, light, and real dignity in everyday life.
So if we try to sort of boil down Archipov's genius, what really stands out?
I think it's his unique way of taking ordinary life, simple motifs, and turning them into something profound.
Right, that transformation.
And that ability to see a spiritual self-portrait in others, to connect deeply and find his own reflections, giving his subjects this quiet power. Plus, his technical skill was undeniable. You see the influence of Zorn, the classical masters he loved, but it's always his vision.
And that compassion we talked about.
Oh, absolutely. He genuinely seemed to believe in finding beauty and optimism, even in that dark kingdom of the laundry or the hard lives of the Podolian Shitsi. He had this deep empathy, especially for working people in Russia, and he put their stories on the canvas with respect.
Elevating the everyday.
Exactly. And let's not forget his legacy as a teacher. Shaping all those future masters, that's a huge lasting impact, too.
Definitely. Okay, this brings us to a final thought for you, our listener. Abram Archipov found this unexpected beauty, these deep human stories, these spiritual self-portraits, in what seemed like ordinary life around him, right?
Yes, the kid on the barge, the washerwomen, the northern light.
So the question for you is, what hidden depths, what quiet heroes might you discover if you just look a little closer at the world and the people right there in your own surroundings?